Hello, wealthy women. It is another beautiful success story that I have for you today. My lovely friend now, her name is Darlene. She's truly amazing. You're going to be very inspired by her mission, her work, and how she can be of service to so many, and she can be of service to you too. So, what I would like to do is go ahead and pass the camera over to Darlene so she can tell you a little bit more about her business, where you can find her, what she specializes in. And then, as you know, we'll go through the success questions round and get ready to be inspired. It's another great success story coming to you right now. So, Darlene, take it away.
Thanks, Tamara. I'm so happy to be here with you.
I am so happy to have you here. So, thank you.
So, I'm a registered social worker and I'm a feminist coach for high producing women.
Okay, tell us more about that. Like, what is your passion, your mission? What does it look like when someone works with you? Sort of transformations they can expect to have, and uh, just a little bit more detail about the type of work that you're doing.
Well, we know that women face different challenges in the world, and I feel like it's really important for women to be supported by women who understand what they're going through. My first degree was a women's studies degree. So I've been working on this for a very long time. And it has been my passion in life to support women everywhere, whatever they're going through. So, the past few years, I've been working as a social worker. I've worked in social services for over 20 years. And now I've curated some packages to work with women. I've been working, doing coaching for quite some time. And I've developed some packages that I think will work really well for some of the folks that I've been working with and have been working with. So they're a lot of fun. You know, there's one that's an intensive program where we work for 12 months together. And then in there, we also meet up a couple times a year and we do a VIP day, like a one-on-one 3-day retreat. So we do that a couple times a year. That's included. And then another package that I have is Go with the Flow coaching, where we use Voxer. And are you familiar with Voxer? It's the best tool these days. I use it all the time with everybody. And we can chat at any time. They can Vox me at any time. And then I've created VIP days, solely VIP days for folks. And then I've also created retreats for women. They're called For Her retreats, and they're in lavish destinations all around. And they're going to be launching soon. We've been working on them for quite some time now. And I'm really excited to launch those.
I love this. And I especially, we already talked about potentially collaborating on retreats because I think the whole idea of self-reflection, self-knowledge, being led by a proper coach like yourself to make these transformations, they're amazing. And then when you get a chance to really connect and feel part of a group, and there's a possibility to meet in person at a beautiful resort and do the deep inner work and at the same time have a beautiful experience, it is life changing. I've done it myself and it has really made a big difference to do in person. And I love how your 12-month program also has these 3-day in-person events as well, because it just kind of, it's okay. I mean, there's definitely things you can do where you can do everything online, and that is absolutely fantastic, but it's also a nice personal touch that you're doing that. So where is a website that everyone can find out all the information about your work so they can look a little bit more into it?
So it's my name, darlenemeissner.com, DarleneMeissner.com. And the retreats, you can find them there, but also forherretreats.com. And, and as you're talking about transformation, the piece about that is, we know what it feels like to be outside of our regular responsibilities at home in wherever we live, and whether we have folks who live with us, whether we're responsible for dependents, but even having a break from work, from even when we work alone and have our own businesses, it's really nice to be able to develop relationships outside of work and outside of the home that really allow us to expand our mind and to relax. And as you're talking about the 12-month program, and that's exactly what that one does, that's why it's so intensive, is that it's about building relationships. And we know that when we feel comfortable with somebody, we know that when we can let our guards down, that's when we can really allow that transformation to happen. And a lot of things happen to us in our lives that make us closed off to different, well, transformations, if we're going to use that word. It really, we have a lot of barriers, and we can get stuck and we can get held back. And so when we develop a relationship with somebody that means so much, then we can really let loose, and then we can really allow that transformation to happen when we
I
can be
absolutely,
vulnerable.
exactly, and absolutely agree with you, because our typically our family and friends circle, it is what it is. It's super special to everything, but typically as entrepreneurs, we're in a whole different field on the average, and it takes that sort of network of people of like-mindedness to get it and to feel safe and to really let it go. And the other thing I said is what you're just talking about like having these blocks, that keep us stuck and not able to transform. Sometimes we ourselves know it and we can catch it, but quite often it requires a coach like yourself or other coaches out there to actually see things we can't see in ourselves. And this is actually what happened to me when I went on my out of state retreat. I'm a deep thinker. I do yoga, meditate, journal, and it was amazing to me because this coach, she caught it within minutes and I never caught it. And it was like shocking to me. However, it was the biggest breakthrough and transformation I had because someone outside of myself was able to see it. And so, what I am saying to all of you women out there is please get coaching. I know there's a lot of us that think we don't need help. We can do it ourselves. It's up to us. We shouldn't have to require help or whatever we have in our head. But trust me, even the most insightful, intuitive, grounded person misses things. They can't see it in themselves. It happened to me. I know it happens to most people. And so I really encourage you to look into coaching or some type of community where someone will call you out, because you can't always see what you can't see, basically. And that's not your fault. You just can't see it. And so this is why coaching and mentorship is so important. And like Darlene says, getting outside of your typical daily routine, it's like traveling basically. If you've ever traveled alone, you just know nobody is watching you, asking you questions, depending on you, whatever it is. And at first it might feel a little bit scary to be all solo like that. But with that comes such an amazing independence and awareness that you are so reliable, that you can count on yourself, and the discoveries and the confidence and the breakthroughs that you make just from traveling happens. Can you imagine traveling then with some proper coaching involved in it? I mean, that's fantastic combination. So, okay, well, I love this. You have definitely given a great overview of your mission, your passion, what you can offer the women here, and how they can find you. So, what I'd like to do now is go into a bunch of success questions, and this will be such an inspiration to those that are somewhere in their journey of entrepreneurship, starting their own business. They'll listen to your answers of, that you also had to start, that, it takes a little while, and how you came to be where you are now. And so, are you ready for our success round?
I
Okay,
am.
let me get my little glasses on. Okay, so the first question we basically covered, so I will go on to the second question. If you could only choose one answer, what is the number one way that building your business has enriched your life? And why would you encourage other women to pursue building their own businesses as a form of self-discovery and self-empowerment?
I would say working on your own schedule. We all have different things going on. Our bodies are going through different things. You know, having that time to be able to do what we need for ourselves is really important. And now, if we have to be at a job from 9 to 5, we're working for somebody else from 9 to 5. We have to ask for time off. We have to ask for a sick day. We have to ask for these things, and they don't seem natural.
Yeah, they don't.
I can't imagine at this point. I've been working, the last time I've worked for somebody else was in 2015. And so I've been working for myself for quite some time. And at this point in my life, I can't imagine what it would be like to ask permission to
Mm,
have a holiday, especially a holiday that somebody has worked for. And we know that people's holidays can also get denied. And it doesn't seem natural to
yeah.
deny somebody a holiday, to deny somebody a day off, for somebody else to say that they need them there, that they need them there at this time, or they can't take this holiday. Well, you know what you need and when you need it. And maybe you want to take that holiday at that time because you're meeting somebody there, or there's an event going on there, or whatever the case may be. If you have kids, maybe the kids are off school at the time. There's so many things going on in our lives that the biggest piece to me, I would say, to have that, to take control of our own time back. That's the
Yes.
biggest piece. Is if you need to stay in bed that day for whatever reason, then you stay in bed that day for whatever reason.
Yeah.
If you need to, go to the store, go to Costco at 12 for 2 hours, you could do that if you don't have any appointments. It's the freedom of the time. That's the biggest piece for me. And my time, our time is everything, but my time, I value it so much that that's exactly what I would say to folks is think about your time and how you want to spend it.
Right, because that's the empowerment when you can choose for yourself what you want to do, when you want to do it, where you want to do it, how you want to do it. That is pure empowerment. It's like the money is empowering, but it's almost like the icing on the cake. The cake is like the foundation, and that is that time freedom of choice situation. So I'm absolutely in agreement with you. I think there's nothing, I do want to make it clear, there's nothing wrong with, normal working, well, I shouldn't say normal, but the working situation in which you have an employer employee. This serves many people for certain reasons, and not all fields, of course, can fit into the paradigm that we have it in. However, if you're here and you're trying to create your own business, you're already there. You're wanting this for yourself. You're wanting to create something, pursue your passion, your purpose, make your own hours, choose how much you want to earn, and not have any ceilings of any kind. So there's all steps. So there's no shame in any part of it. Just follow your heart's desire, because this is the ultimate freedom. And, for example, my husband, he loves being part of a typical corporation, and he loves the team players and the schedule and this, that, and the other thing. For him, that is empowering. So it really depends on your personality. But we know we're just talking to all the female entrepreneurs here and business owners. So we are a special breed. And that's why what Darlene is saying really resonates with us. So I know that's exactly, time freedom to me is more important than money, although it's a very tight race. They're both important. So I love that answer. It's a fabulous answer. And it is true, because when you are your own business owner for long enough, there is a little rebel quality in you that should be applauded. And that is sort of what Darlene was saying. When you have to ask to take your own vacation that you have earned, there's something in you that, no, that just does not really, there's something that comes up that you don't want to play in that sandbox, because it's sort of like, you'll feel like you're a little in kindergarten, where you have to ask if you're allowed to do something. And as far as I
Exactly.
know, we're all grown women.
That's right. Like we're
Right?
asking permission. We're
Yes,
asking permission to take a holiday, which does not seem
no,
natural. You know, and even
Exactly.
when you're talking about your husband and he's going to work and that works for him, men and women have very different roles. We
Yep.
have very different responsibilities. So that might work for him and he feels that works
Yes.
for him, and that obviously will work for some women as well. But
Yes.
women have a lot more responsibilities than men. And when we have so much going on, then often we want to have a different type of schedule than that regular schedule. And as you talked about, Tamara, with the money, there's no limit to the amount of money that you can make when you're working for yourself. If you're
Absolutely.
working somewhere else, they tell you that your salary is between here and here and that you top
Hmm.
out here. And
Hmm.
depending on where you work, if you work for the government, they're like, you're generally unionized. I assume that's
Exactly.
in most places. And even then, you're fighting for those raise increases. You know, it ends up being a public government issue. That's a
Exactly.
pain. And
Yes.
then if you're working for a private corporation and you're making commission, this is the commission you're making,
Yes.
right? You're making
Exactly.
this amount, whether it's 1%. I mean, 1% could be a lot, 2% could be a lot, depending on what you're selling. However, that's capped out. When you're
Yeah.
working
I
for yourself,
absolutely.
you choose the amount. And if
Yep.
folks want to buy it, that's fine. If they don't, that's fine. And then you just keep going and you keep trying to sell it. You can sell it over
Absolutely.
and over and over again.
And the other thing that you just kind of mentioned about women being different also, um, for the many women, I don't want to say all, but for the majority of women, there's something so soulful, nurturing, creative inside of us that is much deeper than just going to work to make some money to pay some bills. We are moved in a spiritual way, and you cannot necessarily find that soulful alignment when you have a so-called corporate job. You don't get the chance to develop your creative self, and you know how that shows up for you, or you will know how that shows up for you when you are starting your own business and you have the time freedom. You will start to get clues and cues about what it is that you need. And even Darlene kind of hinted towards it. There might just be a day when you need to lay in bed. And trust me, I have those days where I can burn the midnight fuel. And then there's a day where I'm just like, I should do this, but I crash. And I know enough now to not push myself because no one's expecting it from me outside of if I have planned
Mm.
appointments. Of course, that's a different story. But if there's space for me to just not do anything or half a day, whatever it might be, I allow that. And the interesting thing is, when I don't force productivity onto myself and I allow that space, what happens is first of all, it's self love by giving myself that gift. Second of all, it opens up your reception to receive. And when you're open like that, sometimes the best, most beautiful, creative, money producing ideas will come to you because you gave yourself the space rather than if you just tackled your to-do list. And so what I'm trying to say, as Darlene I know would support this answer, is allow your own rhythm, and that's going to be different for every woman, but listen to it because that is your desires trying to communicate with you to tell you the best road to take for the next phase of your business. So I love it. Okay, let's get on to the next question. So let's see. How does your business look different now versus when you first started your business?
Well, I'd say quite a bit because the first business that I started wasn't this business at all. The first business that I started was a mid-century and vintage furniture and home decor shop.
Love it.
So it's very different than what I do now.
Yes.
So I started that in 2015. And then I started this business the beginning of 2016. So right after. So I had both businesses because I wanted to do consulting and it was social work consulting is how I started that business. And there's still a little bit of that going on. And because I'm a registered social worker, I'm also, I also provide therapy with folks and I've done different trainings on different types of techniques, such as brain spotting, which helps people out, move past those barriers and moves them out of that space where they're stuck. So when I started doing this business at the beginning, I was leading a team. So I was hired as a contractor to lead a team that was supporting a family. And so that is very different than what I'm doing now. And then I was also, I had been doing a few different things. So one of the things was I was traveling to different First Nations communities here in Canada to provide therapy. So I've done quite a bit. I've been a foster parent of high risk teens here.
Ah.
I've what else have I done here? I'm trying to think of the different
Well, I
contracts.
love this, but basically, like all the things that you've done has led you to where you are now. They all serve a purpose. And this is another important fact because sometimes, we are in such different fields, sometimes in the earlier stages, and we don't realize how those things will connect to what we're doing now. But they all do. They all bring some sort of knowledge and awareness and likes or dislikes that we can sort of like chisel our
Yeah,
perfect business for ourselves. And it's sort of like I love the whole thing about Michelangelo having a slate of marble, and then there is no form yet until it gets chiseled away. And learning what you don't like or what doesn't suit you is just as important as what does.
absolutely. So we're
So
not only
yeah.
building our skills, but like you said, we're building this idea of, well, maybe I don't like this, and maybe I want a little bit more of that, and maybe I need this. So that's exactly how this was created, where I
Yes.
was working with all genders. I was working with folks in many different areas. And then I narrowed it down to working with women.
Yeah.
That
Exactly.
is, working with women is my passion. And so that's where it led me back to this same trajectory that I'm on now.
And I guess on that, just so I can let the lovely ladies listening here, don't ever like force it like I should know what I want to do for the rest of my life. No, we all think that. I think we've been saying this to ourselves since we're 15, 16, then 20, then 24, then 30. And it just, what do it's okay. It's an evolution and it is actually supposed to be that way. And if
Mm.
we just get that message clear that you're never not supposed, it's not natural for you to just know like at such an early age what you're supposed to do for the rest of your life because you're evolving, changing, feeling things out. There's seasons for everything, and just to allow yourself permission to evolve. So speaking of evolving, I'm going to do a speed round with you so we can, because I want to get through a good couple questions with you before we have to say goodbye so we can give some good juicy answers. So the next question is, what empowering routines or what I like to call wealthy woman habits do you follow each day?
Hmm. Okay. So I would say that I and you know what, the millionaire books will say not to do this. And but what I do
We make
is,
our own rules, so who cares what they say, right? Yeah.
the millionaire books written by men will say to get up at 4.
Oh,
And
not gonna
what
happen.
what I like is, when I wake up, and I wake up early, when I wake up, I like to have a nice coffee ceremony with myself. So I make coffee in my French press. It actually
Mm.
doesn't matter how I make the coffee. Like if I'm traveling and it's hotel room coffee, or if I have to go down to the restaurant at a hotel, I still take that time to have coffee and sit with myself and just reflect in, a cozy robe
Can,
and think
can you
about
see
my
this?
day.
Can you see this picture?
Nope. Oh, yes.
Right? That was today. That's my French press, everybody, on a doily on a silver tray in my favorite mug. So I hear you. My husband had to go to work super
Yeah.
early today. He usually makes the coffee. It didn't happen today. So I said, okay, an elegant French press coffee day for
And
me.
how did it feel?
Amazing. It's just
Yes.
these little things, drinking your water in a wine glass, possibly,
Yes.
putting doilies on your little tea biscuit and tea. These are the things. I truly believe this is the beginning of your wealth. If you can do
I
little
agree.
things that are free, that are easy for you to do every single day, you are empowering yourself. You're giving yourself self love. You're saying, I am worthy. I am worthy. I deserve this. And then when you look at your coffee on a silver tray with a doily in your favorite mug with a nice view in the background, you're thinking, yes, this is wealth
Well, how
and
do
I
you feel
deserve it.
when you go for high tea, when you go to a nice restaurant, right? Look at the things that you like there and what can you incorporate at home. So what I have when I travel, and I don't always use it, just sometimes I use it, but I have a travel French press.
Oh, I
And
love
I'll use that because we know that hotel room coffee and hotel coffee isn't always the greatest. And when it's not, it doesn't feel good
no.
whatsoever. So I like to have my French press, my travel French press, and it looks like a travel mug and it just has the press inside.
Very
And
cool.
then I, get a bag of grounds. So when I'm on the road, I don't use the grinder. I
Yeah.
don't buy beans and use the grinder.
Yes.
I did buy a hand grinder a little while ago. I haven't used it yet. But sometimes when you're traveling, you don't have that type of time and whatnot. So just trying to, exactly what you're saying, trying to pick little things that make you feel like cozy. Another
Yes.
thing that I travel with is a bigger mug. So when I do make the coffee in my hotel room, that I have a bigger mug because sometimes it's those paper cups in the room, you
Oh
know.
no, we can't do paper. No. Yes, I hear you. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And so what about like things like meditation or journaling or walking in nature? Do you have like a morning
Mm.
routine outside of your beautiful coffee ritual?
So I do the afternoon walks actually,
Mhm.
and I I do enjoy a morning routine outside if I can get
Mhm.
outside. But the second I wake up, my mind is going, like a lot of us, right?
Yes.
A lot of
Mhm.
us. So my mind's going. So I'm like, okay, go have some coffee, think clearly because I can't really be productive without the coffee. And not yet, anyway. And then when I'm having coffee, I start, I make my list for the day, I go through my schedule, and I start working. And so that for me is natural to start working very early as I'm, in that mode.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate to work from home.
Yes.
So that's a big bonus for me. And then I've found that I want to stay in that momentum of working. And so I do my walk. I do my morning walk in the afternoon.
No, I hear you. I'm kind of exactly the same way. I wake up about 7:30 at the latest, do my morning routine. I have a really strong, productive 3 hours from about 10 to 1 where I am just on fire with my work and I don't want to interrupt myself. And then I do my lunch and then I'll do an afternoon walk, take, like a good 3 hour break between lunch and exercise and just maybe an afternoon coffee sometimes, and then I'll go back into my evening work. And then after that, it's time with, my husband and dinner and all the things. So I love it. It's so important to have these
Right.
little stops.
Yeah, it really is. And I just want to say to that, like, all of that is also weather dependent,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So if
Well,
it's,
it's, yeah.
yeah, if it's
When
going
I
to
was
be
in
raining in
California,
the
it was,
afternoon, there you
yeah,
go.
I know.
Yeah. So,
It's so true about weather dependent. Because basically I split my time, as you know, between California and now I'm in Europe. And Europe, of course, has such a different weather pattern. But I truly enjoy the rain because you don't often get that there. So I have an exercise bike that I sit down and I have a computer desk. It's part of the bike. It's really
that's
cool.
important.
And I'll watch
Yes.
like business trainings or something like that. And then
Yeah.
sometimes if it's not so bad, I'll like walk in the rain because that's kind of lovely too. So my husband always says there's no bad weather, only bad clothing. But I don't really believe that because I try, he's trying to toughen me up since I'm a beach girl, but it's a
You
little
had
tough
asked about
sometimes.
meditation. So, um, I'm more of someone who does like when I do my afternoon walks,
Hmm.
sometimes I'll do a meditative walk. So I'll go into a state where I'm paying attention to exactly what I'm doing as opposed to my mind all over the place.
So, yeah,
Because in the
right.
morning, because my mind is going, that's right, it's not the
Yeah,
best time for me to meditate. And I honestly, I go with my body, and I
yeah,
find the afternoon the best time for that, for
yes,
meditation, for walks, for getting out in
yes.
nature. I
I
do
love
like
that.
if I'm
I think
out,
we have a
yeah,
lot in common. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
if I'm out of, out of home, like at a hotel or whatnot, I love to sit outside on the balcony. I don't have a balcony at home. I have a yard, but I love to sit on the balcony
Yeah,
and have coffee. So then I will get some
absolutely.
fresh air first thing.
I love it. I love it. I think the next question I wanted to ask you, because you're so confident on camera, you're just like so at home in it. How did you, a lot of women that are just starting their business, I think we can all relate to that. In the beginning, we're so nervous to get on camera, to be visible, do Facebook Lives. There was a time that that wasn't necessary. And then there was a time when it was optional. Now it seems you better do it, basically. So a lot of women struggle with, um, how do I feel confident on camera? Can you give any tips to those that are watching, how they can come to the place that you are on camera, where you're so confident, well spoken, and visible, and you feel right at home about it? How did they get there? What would you
Well, I
suggest?
appreciate that because I've definitely struggled with it myself and I've worked on it quite a bit. And I don't think that I'm going to give any tips that people haven't heard before. And it's about practice, practice, practice,
Yeah.
right? So practice what you're going to say, practice being on camera, practice just even in your own personal, Instagram stories, talking to the people that you know. For me, I find the Instagram stories a little harder to talk to because it's people that I know and I'm more nervous. But if it's people I don't know, I'm less nervous.
That's
And I
true.
know there's lots of people who feel the same way. So
That's
for
true.
me, um, I channel my coaches and what they tell me what to do. And I've been very fortunate to have great coaches. And so when I'm feeling stuck, I think of them and what are they telling me to do? And I've had to build up to this. One of the ways
Mm.
that I built up to being comfortable on camera is appearing as a guest on people's podcasts. I love appearing as a guest on people's podcasts. And that's what I've been doing religiously. I just continue to apply, just so I can do it. So,
That is a really good tip. That is
yeah.
really a great tip. And, it's funny you said that, because I realized that's actually what I was doing too. That, and then I was in a coaching program. It was a private coaching program. And you basically were told that you have to practice in the safe group of the coaching program to do your Facebook Lives until you got used to it and could go out into your business world of your own and start doing it. So I love that. I forgot about, yeah, get
Yeah.
on podcasts,
And
everybody.
masterminds, like I've been in different
Yes.
group coaching, like you're saying, masterminds where they challenge you to do that. So
Yeah.
either way, even if nobody watches it in the group, or once in a while you get like a like and a comment, when you're in that type of forum, at least you did it.
Right. And then
You
you
did
feel
it.
proud of yourself, and
That's
and
right.
you build up your muscles. So it's your confidence muscles. So
I'll tell you
get
one
on.
thing. I
Yes.
never go back and watch my videos.
Oh yeah. No, I don't. I have a
I
little bit, but not to self-critique so much, just to make
Well,
sure, well, maybe it is. Yeah, maybe it
I
is a
will
little
do
bit.
that too much, and then I'll
Yeah.
get stuck in that. And then
Oh,
why did I say that? Or why did my face do that? Or why did I wear
yeah.
that? So I don't go back and watch. I just do it and leave it and keep moving forward.
I like that. That's okay. You gave some really strong tips right there. Basically, just do it until it feels comfortable. Practice, practice, practice. Get on podcast, because this is great training for you to know how to respond to questions you don't know that are coming, and you'll find your own confidence when you're answering. And then also, you're getting visibility for your business that way. And then what you just said, don't look back, just keep going forward. Love it. Great. Great, great, great. Okay, this is also a great question that I think the women would like to hear. How did you market your current business? How did you market your business when it was brand new? Now we have new ways to do it, but or let's rephrase this. How, if you were just starting your business now, knowing what you know, what would be the way that you would say, ladies, this is the way you want to market your business? It's been the best, results I've experienced, and this works for me.
So I would say, probably going back to the question that you had just asked, putting yourself out there,
Mhm.
and being seen on different forums, being a guest on people's podcasts. The ones that I've been on anyway, I haven't paid to be on them. So it's a great way, it's a cost-effective way to market yourself. And if I were to go back, I would have started there many years ago and continuing that momentum, because I have invested in different marketing strategies throughout this time of having my own businesses, and they often don't work. When you're leaving it to somebody else and they tell you what they can promise you, because I'm not a marketing expert. I'm an expert in what I do, you're an expert in what you do, and so on and so forth. And so if people have a really good sales pitch, they can really reel you in. you know I don't want to bash fast food places, but are any of those places good for our health? Yet some of them are extremely successful.
This is
And
true.
they're
True.
not saying come and eat here and it's really healthy. They just have a really good marketing. And so that's what I would say. I would say market yourself, get out there in podcasts. It doesn't cost a thing. And I've walked away from some of the podcasts that I've been on, and I'm like, oh, that was terrible. And I'm like, I don't care.
But
I
it's
don't care.
practice.
I'm never going
Yeah.
to listen to it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to listen to it, so it's not going to bother me. And if it's
I
so bad
know.
that they don't want to publish it, then fine. If they want to ask
Yeah.
me for a new one, then that's fine too. And I don't care who hears it, because if you can't see, or somebody can't see that I'm human and, whatever happens, then those aren't the people who are for us anyway. Those aren't the
Yes.
clients that we want, because I want to work with people who want to, or who want to work on themselves, number one, but who also understands that we're all human and we're not all perfect every day. So even when we slip up, it is still a step forward.
Absolutely. And I honestly agree with everything you're saying, because being human now, being imperfect, though at first we didn't think that was allowed. We were like, when we do Instagram, we have to like have professional photographers and a whole shoot of what, that was just like, are you kidding me? And then it's just become, I'm so grateful right now because it's become about being relatable, being human, being the natural woman that we all experience things at different times in our life, but we pretty much get it, what it's about, and being able to connect. And it's okay to have those flaws. It's okay to make those mistakes, even if you are the coach and your package may be so expensive, and this person, you know, you make a little mistake, they forgive you. They know you're human because they themselves too are, and they can relate to it. And I also love the idea, like what you were saying, just getting yourself out there, getting your message across, being visible, being seen, becoming repetitive. Repetition really is important. When people see you enough over and over again, they just attach it that, oh, this person must be really specializing in their field, and they'll start to pay attention if their message resonates. I also love what you said, this whole idea sometimes where we feel like we have to chase. Then no, don't chase. If it's meant for you, if that client is meant for you, it will happen for you. There's nothing you need to do. Just deliver your message beautifully, truthfully, ethically, all the things. If it's a good lineup, it'll work. If it's not, then you should just be thankful because that person was redirected. That rejection was a redirection. I love that phrase, by the way.
Exactly.
And yeah, and I also found what you can sometimes do for yourself, or you can, but it will take forever. Kind of like what Darlene was mentioning with getting on guest shows and podcasts, or just collaborations with like-minded people, I think are the biggest thing. And it's actually so much fun to network and be part of like-minded communities. So I personally think, like, even for myself, because I love collaborations, and I love being part of a group that's already moving forward and has that energy and, attention, and then to just be a part of that wave, it feels uplifting and inspired and progressive. So I love that. This is really what you said. There were a lot of bits and pieces in your answer that are very important for women to hear. So let me just see what else we got here before we have to close off. Um, okay. When you are having a bad day or a mental funk of some sort that you just can't get out of, what do you do? How do you pull yourself up out of that? Do you let yourself, sit in it for a while? What's your way? Because we all have those moments where we can be like a superwoman for 2 days in a row, and then we just hit a wall. Nobody knows sometimes why these things happen. They do, and we don't want to stay in it. So, like, what are some tips that you might have to say, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and or give yourself the rest, whatever? What do you suggest?
So lucky for me, lucky or and sometimes unlucky, I have ADHD. And so I always have, 50 things going on at the same time. And so what I do, so for example, right now I'm getting my house ready for Airbnb. This is a true story. And so some days when I can't, sit and write, or I can't do this one thing. So I'm also changing my website platform right now, literally. And, the past couple days, every time I sit down to do it, my mind just goes blank. And so I'm like, okay, what can you do? Instead of sitting there and blaming ourselves or saying something, unfriendly to ourselves, because we wouldn't say that to somebody else. We wouldn't say that to our best friend. So treat yourself like your best friend. And what would you say? Okay, so what do you need? What else can you do?
Hmm.
Okay, maybe I can throw a load of laundry in. That's a big one that I do, again, because I work from home. So, okay, if I can't move, if I can't, if my brain isn't working and maybe it's gloomy outside and maybe I don't feel like moving around and doing the things that I need to do in my house for the Airbnb, I'll think of different things to do. And sometimes it's throwing a load of laundry in. And the trick about laundry, and some people don't like it, but I love laundry because the trick is the washing machine does all of it for you.
Thank God for
If you
modern
have a
times,
washing
right?
machine, right?
No
So
rock needed.
it's the best thing ever. I put the load of laundry in, I close the stove, close the door, turn it on, and in a little while it's done for me. It's like it's magic. So things like that I feel like are a big success. The other thing I like to do, so I have a dishwasher, but I like to wash dishes by hand. And I find
Meditative.
washing, that's right. So I like wash dishes by hand. It feels really good. I feel like I've accomplished something. And sometimes I'll even have a webinar on or some type of learning series on my computer on the counter, like with like my computer beside me while I'm doing dishes, if that's what I need. Other times I'll listen to podcasts while I'm doing the dishes or going around the house and even getting the house ready for Airbnb. And then there's the times, and the tricky part to what you're saying is the times when we're getting into that funk when we have client calls. So when we have
Mm,
client calls,
yeah.
you know, sometimes that time it's easier. It's easier because we know we have to be there for somebody else. So it,
Yes.
it trips something up. And
Mm-hmm.
the Voxer coaching for me is really helpful in that sense because so my coach, I do Voxer coaching with her, and then I do Voxer coaching with my clients. And so because we can just, get on the Vox at any time, that's really helpful for me. And that's what I find really helpful for my clients because, if we have a scheduled time at 12 p.m. on Wednesday, well, that might not work. for
Right.
whatever reason, whatever
Right.
comes out, and I think about the times that I've gone to therapy, for example, and I have, this appointment set with my therapist, and things are going well, maybe that's not the time that I want to be talking to her. Maybe I want to be talking to her when I'm going through something, a little more,
Yeah.
when
Hmm.
I'm struggling a little bit more. So those scheduled appointments, not saying that, they're never great. Of course they are, but something trips us up when we have an appointment, right? Because we have to get into a different mode. So that's really helpful. But when, as we're working on our own business and we're at home for the most part, like you are, like I am, I just try to do different things, and I'm very, very conscious about it. What do you need right now? Do you need to be outside? Do you need to go for a walk? Do you need to put a little laundry in, right? So instead of beating myself up, because that is not going to help anybody. That's definitely not going to help yourself. So try not to do it. Just take a step back and ask yourself what you need and go through the list of the million things that you actually have around the house to do. So
I
if it
love this.
means like getting on the bike, if you have a bike, get on the bike. If it
I love,
means
yeah,
watching a show, shutting everything down and putting on Netflix, do it if that's going to make you feel better.
I love this. And it's so true. I mean, we might have been raised in the same home because everything you're saying resonates with me. I know, like, one of my quick go-tos, well, like if I'm having a really bad, like, kind of moody day, I'll allow the best advice my mom ever gave me was, she's like, okay, you get 10 minutes to throw yourself a pity party, but then that's it and it's done, and then pick yourself up. And I love it because it gave me permission on the rare days that I have to have a little boohoo moment. I'm allowed, but I got 10 minutes. So I mean, of course, there's flexibility there. But one of the other great things is what you said. I always go for organizing and cleaning the house a little because it's a quick win. It's a quick win where your confidence starts, your serotonin levels start to go up. You're starting to feel better. You accomplish something, you can visually see it's better. And then you're like, okay, well, maybe this and maybe that. And sometimes I say, like when you plan your day, have like your lowest denominator day. Like, what, even on the worst day, what do you know for sure you're pretty much capable of doing? And then, like you kind of said, go for those. And then you'd be surprised how your energy starts to fuel up and you get right back in the zone again. Maybe not. Maybe it is a Netflix day. Either way, it's okay. And I also love what you absolutely said about having appointments. There is something so true. And yes, there are times where maybe it just becomes inconvenient, but then there are times there's a lifesaver. And I think this goes back to that philosophy where we were always told, sorry, I have a meeting coming up, so I just wrap this up in a few minutes, but where we were told that if you're feeling bad about yourself, sometimes the best thing you can do is help someone else. So when you're getting on a call with somebody else, you're shifting that energy, you're getting into someone else's energy. You're trying to show up for them and be the best you can be. And it doesn't even have to be a coaching call. It could be that you're talking to a friend or a sister or your mom, but someone who you want to give to them good energy, and somehow that comes back to you. So I love that. And yes, absolutely. So let's see if we can do a speed round with maybe two more questions, and then we'll just go ahead and let us know again your website where people can find you. And I am loving this interview. I know the women will love this as well. So let's see. Okay, what practices do you suggest for getting in touch with your soul's purpose? If someone is feeling a little bit lost as to what direction they should go or they're asking, what direction should my business go in, and they haven't hit it yet, what would you suggest for them to do?
Mm. And that really depends on a variety of, that's a big question. So
It's
it
a big
it
question.
really
Maybe we just
depends on
do
a
that one.
variety of factors. And I would sit down with somebody and just explore what it is that they really enjoy about what's going well right now. And I would want to know what is it that's not going well right now in your business. So so if they have that existing business, let's actually take, count of what it is, like a literal pros and cons list.
Yes, I used to
And
do that all the time.
yeah, and really see what it is that you enjoy about this. And maybe, a friend of mine early this year, January, she burnt her whole coaching practice down. Pure, like all of it. Purely. And she's starting from scratch. She got rid of her email list. She wanted to go in a different direction. Like that's
Wow.
bold.
Burn the
That's bold.
boats, right?
And there's, a few reasons, obviously, why she did that. It's very, very bold. And you need to work up to that point,
Yeah.
to figure out if that is something that you need to do.
Yeah.
And you need to do it with help. You really
Yeah.
do. Because
I agree.
you can get stuck in that, and this blame game where you're not being so kind to yourself. So I would definitely, if that is what somebody is doing, I would definitely say bring in somebody to help you. If it's not one, it's a variety
Yes.
of people to
Yes.
assist with that.
I agree. And I think the first step too, one of the things that I will do is I will basically, for me, it's God, it can be any, whatever you resonate with, but I will say, God, what is the next step in my business? And then I will just put the question in and I will expect to hear an answer. I don't maybe know when or how it will come. And then I will quite often sit on my meditation mat and just try and be quiet and try and be quiet and let the feelings come through. And I have, for me personally, have gotten many divine downloads that way, where it just was like, yes, that's it. That's it. No, no doubt in me whatsoever. And I knew it was coming from me and not coming from me. It's that whole circle of I am creator, there is a creator, the whole 9 yards. It's like this whole combination of just feeling in flow and in line. But yes, and then you might even start to, notice like little things, like sometimes little signs that make you feel like, okay, I am on the right path. And then absolutely what you're saying about getting that coaching, because like I said earlier, I had a blind spot I didn't even know that I had. And I'm pretty, self-reflecting individual, and I didn't see it. And this coach saw it right away and brought me out of my block, and it transformed everything for me. So I love it. Do a little internal questioning, a little soulful asking, whatever your spiritual inclination is, and then get the help you need if it is of a bigger nature, where it's not like necessarily something that you can figure out on your own in time. So anyway, I have truly loved so much. This interview is like so inspired. I feel truly moved by it. I know all the women that will be watching this will feel the same way. You really gave some seriously great, actionable ideas that women can do to kind of all the things that we talked about. Really spot on. And I just want to really thank you. And before we sign off, I mean, I could talk to you for hours. I just like, I wish I could, but I also feel like such a deep connection with you, because really there's so much that we have in common. So this was really nice to communicate with you and, realize that many of us have similar, feelings that we're sharing, and we all are part of this great community of female entrepreneurship, and it's such a beautiful journey. And I love that you're leading with such a beautiful light of inspiration. So thank you again. And please, before we sign off, go ahead and let everybody know where they can find your work again so they can reach out to you.
Well, thank you so much for those kind words, Tamara. You know that I feel the same. You can find me at darlenemeissner.com and the retreats at forherretreats.com. And, I just want to finish with, it's really important to get the right person who aligns with your values and aligns with your vision to work with. Because when we can't move forward in the same way. We don't have those same breakthroughs. We really need to work with somebody who gets us, somebody who's non-judgmental with us, and somebody who can really help move us forward when we're stuck. That's the most important part.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. And I am looking forward to, connecting with you in the future and seeing the progress of your beautiful work. And all right, wealthy women, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Success Stories. This interview is just truly beautiful. And please reach out to Darlene. She can help you with so many different things if you're looking for guidance in your path along your journey. So I want to say thank you to everyone for listening. And until next time, you have a great day. Bye for now. Hey, just got to put the glasses on. Okay.